All right, well, we just finished with the premiere of the Carrowmore alignments video, and I just thought I would try a live stream right afterwards if anyone wanted to ask any questions live that I could answer over the mic or demonstrate with Google Earth. So right now you're looking at an image of the central cairn, 51, Listogil. And it has that reconstructed cairn around the central chamber. Just gonna check something real quick over on the software side. Looks good there. Give a shout out where you're watching from if you would like to. So, welcome, Tony McGrath was the first commenter. And we also have George Brown coming in and George Luft. So, welcome, everybody. Hopefully, I've pronounced everyone's names correctly. I'll do my best. Were you all able to watch the premiere video that was uploaded and broadcast just before now? If not, you can always watch back later. So did anyone have any questions about what they saw? Here's a nice view around the site. When you visit the site, you end up coming down this road, and you can see some of the sites right here alongside. And there's the parking area here and a small visitor center just down the road. When I visited in 2021, the visitor center wasn't open that day, so I wasn't able to go inside, but we were able to explore the sites with almost nobody was there, so it was really quite a nice day to look around and have the place to ourselves. And in the video, we focused on the sites that were nearby. If we take a look here, there are sites that kind of continue even outside of the immediate area. Some towards the south, and then further up towards the north, there's a ring fort along some of these same lines, and then some other boulder circles with just limited remains. And so I looked at a few of those, but nothing too prominent jumped out at me during those investigations. And of course, I'm currently in the process of looking into some of the other surrounding sites, like the Carrowmore Causewayed Enclosure site. Unfortunately, there's no remains on the ground, but it has several sight lines towards Knocknarea and two other sites on the surrounding hills. And I'm in the process of entering all of these alignments into the database currently so that people can access them and know what dates they could use to observe them. And I've just been working through all of Ireland from the south to the north. And when I finish the Republic of Ireland, I've got a few to do in Northern Ireland. And I've already done most of the UK, except I still need to do a little bit up in Orkney and Shetland. So there's still work to be done, but I appreciate the community's enthusiasm and support. It really helps me to move the work along. So Tony's saying he's just found the Archaeoastronomy database today, so welcome, and I'm glad you found. So we've got if you look around on the description of the videos and on the YouTube channel description, you'll see links to the Archaeoastronomy database website and to the Facebook page where there's a lot of discussion. So there's lots of options to participate. Here, I'll go ahead and put in the link to the YouTube channel. I'm really hoping that during this major lunar standstill season that's ongoing through 2024 and having its absolute maximum in spring of 2025, and then kind of continuing again for about a year on the other side, I hope that some of these lunar alignments are able to be observed in the field. I'm hoping to be able to do some myself, but also opening it up so that any interested parties can find the sites that are near them or the sites they're interested in visiting and plan a visit, and weather permitting, that's always the caveat, making these observations. I've published some maps with lunar standstill alignment sites, so let me go ahead and I'll might as well link those in here as well. So I have one for the northern standstill and one for the southern. Because during the standstills, as many of you know, the moon is swinging back and forth between its extreme maximum northern and southern positions, rising and setting on the horizon, roughly every 2 weeks. So it'll be at a maximum southern position, and then about 2 weeks later, maximum northern position, and then 2 weeks after that, again, back to the other extreme, just swinging back and forth very rapidly. And during the major lunar standstill, it exceeds the range of the sun on the horizon at solstices. And I've got some great videos on the patterns of the moon and the major lunar standstill and how that all works on the YouTube channel, if you're interested in checking any of that out. So let's see. Here's the northern major lunar standstill map. When you click on the entries in the map, you need to make sure that you see if it's for a rising or a setting event. And the website that I pasted in earlier has resources on how to find out when the moon is rising and setting on a particular date at a particular location, so that you can be in place. And you want to be in place early so that if there's any hills or horizon elevation, it doesn't impact your viewing. Like if you got there at a little too late, then the moon could already be behind a horizon. So you want to plan accordingly. And we'll put in the southern standstills here. There we go. So if we take a look here, we've got Stellarium showing. Let me see if it comes through on the live stream. Oh, I know what I need to do is switch to our other view. You have to bear with me a little bit. This is only my second time live streaming, so it's a little haphazard and a little nerve-wracking, but there we go. And you can see lines here representing where the sun and moon rises. And this purple line is the major lunar standstill at its southern position. And then over here is at the northern position. So if we go to the summer solstice, for instance, you can see the sun setting along this line. And this other line is where it would have been in the Neolithic. Because the tilt of the Earth has decreased slightly since the Neolithic period, the sun no longer reaches quite as far north as it used to. It's just about 1.3 degrees further south than its maximum position. And that translates to a few widths of the sun. But any modern observations can always be used to extrapolate the ancient position. If the disk of the sun is in the image, we can just take that width and then we can calculate the degrees over. So we have a northern standstill coming up on July 19th. So not too many days from now. So if we select the moon and take its setting, we can see here. Oh, I must have read that wrong. That's our southern standstill coming up on the 19th. And so you can see that between the 19th and the 20th, that moon gets just almost to the absolute extreme position. And the most extreme position will be reached in March of 2025. But every opportunity is valuable because some phases are less visible when rising or setting. So for instance, this will be pretty easy to see rising and setting, but other phases like thin crescent phases you can't see during daylight when they're rising or setting as easily. And so combine that with weather and the opportunities are even more limited. So every opportunity that can be used to make these observations is going to be valuable. All right, did anyone else join the chat? Looks like we have about 9 watching currently, and 3 have given a shout out in the chat, so appreciate that. Let's think. If no one has any specific questions, I'll think of what else we can talk about briefly. I can give you a little bit of an idea of how the database is being set up. And I plan to do a video on that soon, kind of helping people to know how to use it. It is available already on the website, and I'm adding more entries every day. And it might look a little intimidating to first-time users, but since you make your own copy of the spreadsheet that you use as your viewing interface, there's really nothing you can do to hurt it. You can always make a new copy if anything gets messed up. But in essence, what it allows you to do is to either filter down by your location or by a specific time, and it will match up dates when you could observe a specific alignment. Like it'll give you when you could make those observations, when the moon or the sun are in the correct positions to line up with the various proposed alignments. And then each entry, of course, has links to images and then any observations that have been made. And the idea is to kind of crowdsource that data and allow people to make their own observations and share their links to wherever they happen to share or host those observations, so that everyone can benefit from that information. Oh, Tony is mentioning that he was able to mention Bigmore in Northern Ireland. That's an amazing site. And I've corresponded with Hugh, who lives nearby, and he actually does tours in the area, and he was able to make some observations that are in that video. And there's actually even more alignments that can be made there, especially in that northeastern quadrant where there are multiple rows of stones kind of fanning out at slightly different angles. One of those is on the major lunar standstill northern position, and one's on the summer solstice, and I believe one even towards a possible cross-quarter date, or maybe even a minor lunar standstill position. Looks like Taylor King is giving a hello. Welcome. Glad you could join us. So if we go back into Stellarium, I'm going to lock onto the moon, and you can kind of see how if it was setting each day, it works its way to the north, then working its way back to the south. And that brings us through August, and then into September. And so you'll notice at this point, the moon is reaching right onto that purple line. So it's reaching some of its more maximal positions. And it usually will do that due to orbital mechanics around the equinoxes is when it reaches the more extreme positions. But then it's at half moon phase, which is, depending on the phase, it's observable in the darkness setting, but you'll notice that this half moon is rising in broad daylight. It can be viewed under clear conditions, just not as easily. But the full moons around the solstices are also dramatic to watch, even if they don't reach quite the same extreme position. But they're still very, very far north and south. So again, to the north and the south, we'll go through October and November. And now as we're approaching winter solstice, you'll have your full moons near the solstice, and this is right at dusk. You can see the sun, actually this is at dawn, the sun rising as that moon is setting. And if we back up, we can see that moon rising. But we want to do that one day later. There we go. So on the 15th of December, you'd see that moon rising at the extreme position and going high in the sky, and then setting at dawn. And so there, depending on the day you observe, you can catch it at its absolute extreme, but one day on either side is still going to be very far beyond the solstice position, which you can see right over here. Nearly 9 degrees difference on the azimuth of the horizon. So that's quite a difference there. So if we go back into Google Earth and turn on our alignments, you can see that I kind of color code all my alignments so that it might look a little bit messy, but there's There's a method to the madness. And my lunar alignments are in these purple and lavender colors. And for southern standstills, I'll use the light lavender, and for northern, I'll use the darker purple. And that way I always know whether I'm looking to the northeast or the northwest, or to the southwest and the southeast. It helps keep things straight. And I'll use this bright orange for the summer solstice, and this lighter orange for the winter solstice. So this one is not going up to the northwest from Site 51, but is coming down from Site 55, looking towards Site 51. And that's one that I talked about in the video. One that I didn't mention is that there seems to be a cross-quarter alignment here, and because this is the brighter color of pink, I'll use a lighter color for the southern cross quarters. I'm wondering where exactly the sun would strike on the slopes of Knocknarea here. So if I go to the May cross quarter, usually I'll use the date of May 7th for that. It would be interesting to see if the sun kind of seems to roll down the slope of Knocknarea. But the sun in Google Earth is never very easy to determine. And for some of these sites, when I have time, I'll import a much more detailed horizon into Stellarium, and then I can use that to have a more accurate picture, but I don't always have time to do that from every viewing position. So I do a rough preliminary view from Google Earth, and then for more precision alignments, I will set up those in Stellarium. And also, I have had many wonderful correspondences with Archaeoastronomy Ireland, another Facebook page and an online community that's sharing information about archaeoastronomy specific to Ireland. And on their Facebook page, there's all kinds of really great information on alignments throughout Ireland. And so that's linked in the video that I premiered earlier today, a link to Archaeoastronomy Ireland. And so the Archaeoastronomy database will often share content there, and vice versa. We're just trying to connect with everyone who is interested in the astronomy of these ancient sites. So if there are any questions, feel free to type those into the chat. Otherwise, I think maybe we'll wrap up here in the next few minutes. Okay. Danny Ford is saying that he found the Archaeoastronomy database while checking out lunar alignments in Southeast Ireland. So I'm glad you found us, Danny. Welcome. Be sure to explore around on the website that's linked in the channel description and almost all the video descriptions, and join in the Facebook page if you like. There's a lot of good discussion there. It really helps if people can give the channel a like, a subscribe, share it with others. That helps it to get to people who are interested, and just really anything you can do to help support will help the work to go along. I've got some really big plans in the works that I'm hopefully trying to work through this summer while the school year is not ongoing, and help me to kind of get things going on to the next phase. That's my hope anyway. If you are able, I would greatly appreciate anyone who can support the work through donating on either Patreon or through PayPal. Patreon is kind of recurring, but I've set my Patreon up a little bit differently than a lot of them. I have it set so that basically you can set your donation level, and then you're only charged when a video is posted through Patreon. And you can set a cap on that too. So say you signed up at $5 per creation, and I posted one video that month, then your $5 would be donated. If I posted a second video, then another $5 could be donated, and you could like put a cap on it so that it would stop there, even if by some chance I uploaded 3 videos in the month. We're not quite there yet, so that hasn't often happened. Or you could even just cap it at the 1, so that if a video was uploaded that month, you'd have the $5 donation. If not, there would be no charge for that month. And then, of course, PayPal, you can get on there and just do a one-time donation of any amount. So right now, it's just me that's running everything and doing all the research and putting together the educational videos and entries into the database and just trying to move things forward. So every little bit can help out with that work. Well, I appreciate everyone coming and joining along on this kind of impromptu live stream. If you didn't have a chance to watch the other video, give that a try and explore any of the other videos that you might be interested in, and feel free to add comments, questions. I try and answer all the comments that I can, and you can join the discussion on Facebook as well. So I think we will, oh, it's like we've got a question. Look at some of the sites. Tombs Cursus Complex in West Wicklow. Okay, excellent. You've got the site ID there for the historic environment viewer. Definitely. Well, it sounds really interesting to look at the Hook Peninsula in Wexford, the Holy Cape. I'll definitely take a look at that, Danny. That looks interesting. In fact, I'll copy and paste this and make note right now. I've got pages and pages of notes of things to look at, so I'm always interested in any site with possible astronomical connections. Yeah, and you'll have to take a look at some of the maps that I linked in earlier, and you can find those on the website as well, because I did put in a lot of sites from other parts of Ireland, but I'm sure there's more that I have not looked at, so I'll definitely take a peek. And I'm always here to help too if you're looking to make observations and you contact me through Facebook or through YouTube by leaving a comment. And there's also a contact form that connects to my email. And I'm more than willing to do what I can to help you to, find the best date for an observation or a good observation when you're at a certain area at a certain time. And just to give you any hints and tips on how to get set up or how you might make those observations. All right, we'll leave it one more minute for any of the questions, and then I think we'll probably wrap it up. And we'll try to do more of these live streams in the future, maybe with a little bit more planned, and maybe try and get some more people viewing so that we can have a lot of questions going, and that would be a really interesting thing that we could try. Here's a view from up on top of Knocknarea. And I'll be putting out some information on that fairly soon too. And as always, if you have ideas like we just had shared for sites to look into or others that you'd like to see a video on. I may have even already done the analysis and just haven't got around to the video. So if there's ones that are in the forefront of people's minds, then I could put those higher in the list. So feel free to share that or make comments down below after the stream ends, and I'll surely take a look at those. So again, thanks for watching. I really appreciate all the support, every little bit of every view, liking, subscribing, that all helps. So we'll talk to you guys next time. Until then, just keep watching the skies and stay curious.